Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kelvis Podcast. Man, I am so fortunate. My producer and one, I got the number one singer, worship leader in the Fayetteville surrounding areas in the studio with me. You're my first artist, Mr. Winslow. I'm so thankful to have you in the studio today. I am truly blessed and honored to have your presence.
Man, thank you so much for having me.
And man,
It's an
just
honor.
hey, I have to say this. Sitting out there talking to we know a lot of the same people.
Exactly.
We both A&E and Dr. Peyton Jarrett and all them and a lot of other people that I know since I've been here in Fayetteville, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
'Cause I used to go to your church for a little bit.
Small
It's
world.
small world, very
world.
small.
Small
So all right, we're gonna jump right into this, man.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit more about you.
Okay. I'm from Laurinburg, North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay, I know them parts.
You know about Laurinburg?
Yeah. One of my Zeta chapters is down there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Berg, I call it.
Yes, sir, the Berg.
From Laurinburg, my parents, Brenda and Winslow Ratliff, both from Laurinburg as well. Oh, wow. What else? I've been doing music now since the age of, I started off really singing around the age of 5.
Okay.
On our tiny child choir at my home church, Solid Rock Baptist Church.
Okay.
But around the age of 12, I started directing choirs.
Wow, that's amazing. You like Jesus when he went into the temple, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah, amen.
Look, it's an honor.
Yeah.
I really take it as a privilege.
Right.
But been directing choir since the age of 12. From there, I've worked with just different choirs in the community in Laurinburg, and then, of course, like in Fayetteville area, just different places like that. Been able to work with groups and choirs, different churches.
Yeah.
Been doing that for a while. I started doing my own personal ministry like in 2000. I think it was like 2012.
Okay.
2012. I was right out of high school.
Right out of high school.
Started doing my own ministry by myself. Been doing that for a while, and that's it.
And you sing with a lot of other groups, and as you were telling me in out there, we was discussing prior to getting to the podcast.
Will Harris from
Right.
Lewis Chapel.
Yeah.
Will Harris and friends.
Yeah.
I've been singing with him now for about 6 years now, 6
Right.
or 7 years.
Yeah.
Who else? I've sung with a lot of different community choirs and different things like that.
Yeah, you sang with Jared and
Jared Payton.
Jared Payton.
I've sang with Jared
Yeah.
Payton.
I think Payton. What is the voice of Jared and the voices or something to that name?
Well, I hadn't sung directly with that group.
Okay,
But he
okay.
sings with Will Harris as well.
Okay.
So we've been
Okay.
working together in the
Okay.
community.
Okay.
And then,
I got you.
just different community choirs that have
Gotcha.
been formed for different events and stuff.
Got you.
Yeah.
So tell me what you how do you think your music has evolved from the beginning? So you started out at 5, you started 12, with your own worship. How have you evolved up to this point? How has your music evolved?
I'll be honest. Younger, it was more so watching my dad sing and watching his brothers sing.
Right.
Music was always, special to me, watching my parents do it,
Right.
Watching my family do it. But now I can say being older, it's more personal. It's
Okay.
from the heart, having a relationship with God
Right.
for myself.
Oh, that's the key right there.
It's key.
That's
And because
key.
of course, God, quote unquote, through your family, because
Right.
they've been doing it for so long.
True. That is
but
true.
once you get that relationship and that communication back and forth, and you actually understand God for yourself, and you live and you go through different things.
That's true.
And you have a testimony to come out of it. It's just like, look, God has been good to me. And
Yeah.
so I can't get up here and play with it and just
Right.
halfway sing.
That's true.
I'm singing and I'm ministering like it's my last time every time. Because you just never know.
That's true.
You never know. So it's just a thing for me.
Right.
Just always just doing it as if it's my last time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that you're grown and you've been in Silent Temple, you've moved on to bigger and greater things. You got a single coming out. Talk me through that process now that from your parents and your father singing all that. What has been the growth of your music now? Your testimony. I know it's greater because you've been through some things.
Yeah.
We all been through some things.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I'm a son of an elder. My mother's an elder. She been
PK.
Yeah, and we are the best for the record. We are the best kids out there. Okay, what y'all say? Okay,
I believe it.
Hey, a lot of people got different opinions, but I'm here to tell you we're the best.
Because y'all have to deal with so much.
Yeah.
Y'all, you have to literally give up your parents. Like, I can honestly say, I think PKs give up that moment of being like a vulnerable child at
That's true.
times.
That's true.
Because you have to be protective of your parents.
Right.
You see stuff, it's
Yeah.
a lot. So we're going to talk about that because I'm not a PK.
Okay,
I'm not a PK. But how has it evolved since then to now? Honestly, just that relationship with God. I'm thankful for the church. And I'll say that over and over because church has taught me so much.
Yeah.
Good, bad, highs, lows.
Oh, I'm about to say it. Taught, yeah,
Listen, it would
it's
teach
taught
you,
us all some
it
things.
would teach you some
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yes,
your
it will.
eyes are definitely open.
Yes.
Because you would think since this is God's house, it's supposed to be so perfect, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But you see the good, the bad, and the
That's
ugly.
true.
But it actually helps to build your character. It builds your character. Because like honestly, working in the regular field of work,
Right.
People ask all the time, your customer service experience. You have good customer service experience. But it comes from, of course, at the age of 12, direct inquiries.
Right.
You have people that's older than you.
Older and different personalities. And you got to get everybody on one accord.
One accord.
Right.
So when you say, hey, come on, be quiet, and you're 12 telling people to be quiet, but they listen.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you got people that's older than your grandparents, or your great-grandparents, and you directing them, telling them what to do.
Right.
Things of that nature. It really, it's just shown me like, hey, you can never be too old or too young, but still get that respect from people, number one. Yeah. But then on top of that, just people skills.
Right.
It's just giving me that people skill where I can sit down and have a conversation with somebody I don't even know.
Right.
You know, just find out different things. Sometimes you can just read people by just conversations.
That's true.
So just different things of that nature. That nature.
Right.
So I mean, I'm grateful for it. I mean, it's just really expanded my ministry to more so not only just minister to people of my age, minister to people also older than me, ministering to even kids. I mean, like tiny, like small kids. I love kids in general.
Well, you sound like Miss Angela Mark. I just had her on the podcast.
Really?
You know, she went to Bethel AME Church for a while.
Yes.
When I was doing, we was there doing quite a years together, and we did a lot of things together.
I love her.
Yeah.
Love her ministry. I met her through Trayvon as well.
Okay. Yeah. Through Trayvon. Yeah. And we were talking about it earlier. I was telling you my boss, Mr. Cousins, go to Trayvon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. You did tell me that.
Yeah.
So, I love it.
Yeah. So, you know, you said something that sparked me.
Okay.
And I seen that, especially in anywhere, and not only that, any church. Cause my mom done Baptist.
Okay.
You know, the hurt in the church. Let's talk about the hurt, what you've been through, and how it has shaped you to now.
Yeah, I honestly say, not only now, but earlier years, just being in church. I came from a Baptist church where we had like a huge youth choir.
Right.
You know, but then over time, just different things happened where the youth no longer became like the focus of the church. It was more so the older people of the church.
Right.
So like our youth got pushed aside. You know, we weren't really looked upon for different things. We want to have different anniversaries and concerts and different things.
Right.
And we were told quickly no versus a yes.
Yeah.
And so I can say from that, having to just take it and be like, hey, it's nothing personal. It's just the way the church is moving.
Right.
But it wasn't easy, of course, because when you have a heart for young people and you're young too.
Right.
It's like, look, when you have these concerts, we're pulling young people in. We're doing these different things. Yeah. So when you're told no, when it should be, yes, bring the young people in. That should be something that's just obvious, you know?
Right. And you drove me to a point. I think it's I'm trying to think of the churches around Fayetteville, Manning churches.
Okay.
Right. I don't know if you ever been to one of their worship services. They have a very dynamic worship service with a lot of young folks. And what I've learned, even from growing up in a small church down in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Moses Chopper.
Okay.
You know, you got the older people, the older mothers, the older deacons and stuff like that, based on, you know, the denomination and how their church politics or structures is made up.
Yeah.
You know, it loses a lot of, and it's been books about it, the church have lost the age of, say, from 20 to 35, 40. There's been plenty of books written about this and how they have lost connection, right, with the younger generation. Yep. And I look at you, I look at Miss Angela March, and I look at other people, and how y'all worship and how you sing. You got to be able to relate to these young kids.
You have to.
I look at some of the other famous gospel singers, Kurt Franklin and them. You know, they brought an energy, a dynamic to the worship service because worship is so important. I ain't got to tell you. I'm just speaking from my experience. Worship gets you, worship God into the service. It gets you into the spirit of the Lord.
Exactly.
So the Lord can start dealing with you. Whatever you had came into church with that day or, you know, that Sunday, whatever day it may be, that's in your spirit that you need God to make a move in your life to move. That worship is so very important.
It breaks up the ground.
Yes.
And that's what a lot of churches don't see.
Right.
I think, honestly, I wish pastors would go in and just teach strictly worship sometime. Just do a series on just worship.
Right.
So churches will understand the breakdown. Why do praise and worship leaders try to push you to come in and worship? If you come in, say you've had a bad day, a bad week, you got up that morning, your car wouldn't start.
Right.
And then you got dressed, and you got oil on your car, on your clothes from fixing something on the car. Just different things. You had to go back in the house and change clothes. So now you get to church finally, and you just sitting there like, I'm here.
Right.
You know, you're there.
Yeah.
But now me as the worship leader, I have to tap in. First of all, I have to have a relationship with God beyond just Sunday morning.
Right.
But I've tapped in. I'm here. I'm ready. I feel where God is trying to take us in service. Now I'm saying, come on, can you open up your mouth and lift your hands? Can you do all this other stuff?
Yeah.
You're trying to get people to participate in service. You're trying to break up, honestly, the enemy desires for you to come in and be silent.
Right.
He desires for you to come in and not even be active.
Right.
You know, in those services. But if you allow that moment to pass you by, as far as just lifting your hands, as far as opening up your mouth and saying stuff. And some people are not loud worshipers.
That's true.
You get what I'm saying? Some like my grandmother, she could just sit there and tears just roll down her eyes. She doesn't have to get so involved and just really into it.
Right.
You have some people that's gonna get up and just shout and just do the most.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends on the person.
That's true.
I don't take it personal if I see somebody sit there, but they're just engaged. I don't take it personal because at this point, as long as you're getting something from it,
right.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because God deals with each individual
individually on their level. Because
Right.
I've had people, the quietest person that come to me after church and say, hey, what you sung today really ministered to me. And it's like, huh? And in your mind, you're thinking like, well, you didn't move the whole time.
Right.
But no, they were actually into it without just doing the acrobatics, just doing all this extra stuff.
Right.
People don't have to do that. It just, you have to reach people where they are.
That's
but
the key.
if it's vertical and it's going to God anyway, it doesn't. He said, if I'm lifted, I'll do the drawing.
Amen.
So the key is we as worshipers and as worship leaders, our job is just to lift him.
Right.
And he's going to do the rest of it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about getting a response from the crowd.
Right.
Worry about pleasing the one that we're worshiping.
That's man.
That's it.
You preaching right now. You preaching right now. But you about to make me take this suit off and run around this place.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So so I have to say this. When I hear, and a lot of young people, young adults, I hear say that a lot of pastors are not in touch with today's society. They are hypocrites because they had a past too. Now, granted, what in history repeats itself.
It does.
What my mama then went through. My mom was back in the day. She was tough. She used to shoot at the club by my daddy. You know what I'm saying? Her and her sister them came in the club because my daddy was in there slow drag with somebody else. My mom them came in with shotgun shot over my daddy.
Okay.
So
ready to fight.
Right. So history repeats itself. So some things are, still in the realm, and a lot of young people say that the pastors are not real. They're not relating to them because they want to make them feel like, they've been holy all their life and they have no sins. They never did anything wrong because God had to save you from something. Everybody got testimony. Right.
Yeah,
and I think I've heard a lot of young people say, or young adults say that, there's the church is not real.
Yeah.
They don't relate to what they're going through out here in the society today. There is some distinct difference between most pastors in these churches now. You got some young pastors in there, but a lot of older pastors. Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
I'll honestly say I don't think a lot of it's crazy. I don't feel like a lot of the pastors have. How can I say it the best way? And I'm just gonna be raw with it.
Go be raw with it.
I believe it's important for the Black church to have counseling.
Okay.
I go to counseling. I'll be honest, I go to counseling.
Me too.
But I think it's important for the Black church to go to counseling because a lot of times these pastors aren't willing to be real with the saints and with kids because they're not real with themselves.
Right.
So if you struggle with whatever your struggle is or whatever you've been through, if you can say, yeah, this is what I've been through, but this is where I am. A lot of times they can't say it because it may be some of the same things they're still struggling with.
Right. That's true.
Or a lot of times they're just ashamed.
Right.
Well, we shouldn't be ashamed of our testimony if that's something that is a testimony and it's of the past.
Right.
But have those conversations, have those real life conversations.
Right.
So I really believe the church, the Black church, we're ashamed to do counseling because we feel like if I'm doing counseling, something's wrong with me. People are gonna think I'm crazy or all this other. No, it's just I'm trying to prevent what could be.
Right.
Or I'm trying to heal what's already there.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't want to heal those places, those broken places, because they feel like counseling won't do it.
And it's a taboo. I'm very big on mental health, and as next month is Mental Health Month.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna have a lot of people on my podcast. But I tell people all the time, and I think sometimes I'm a little raw for them because I tell them I didn't know anything about counseling. A lot of people where I'm from in the country, I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay, I've heard of it.
It's not. What's the word I want to say? They just don't know about counseling. I didn't know it. I went in the military. I've been in combat several different times, and I didn't know until I came back from the OIF1 that I needed counseling because I had been through and I had seen things prior to being the other what we call peacekeeping mission, but I seen a lot of things there too, and I didn't realize, and I was suppressing things from my childhood. So I tell my people, that you need to get into counseling.
Yep.
You know, and it's been a taboo in the Black community. I'm just going to be real. Like you said, I'm just going to be true about it. I got a cousin that's the Eastern North Carolina Behavior Director.
Okay.
And we talked about it on one of my very first podcasts that I did. It was shot in Fayetteville.
Okay.
And we talked about that because when we come from, a lot of things, unfortunately, swept under the rug. A lot of things happened during our childhood that was swept under the rug, and never nobody talked about it. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
You know, they say, you know, the saying is, and I know God is truly able because I can testify to
we're still here.
that. But I think that God gave people ability to help us beyond that. He gave people the capability to go to school and learn these different things. Exactly. Yeah, you pray to God, you trust in God, but also God manifests people in your life to help you.
To help you.
And people don't. And a lot of people don't understand that. They'll say, you know, God is, you know, especially back then, you know, we're just gonna pray to God. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And we're gonna sweep this under the rug, and we're gonna keep going, not knowing the damage that
it's gonna do later. It can do later. And so to go back to your question, why I feel like pastors will not be so truthful is because they're not ready to be truthful with themselves.
Right.
And you can't be true to other young kids when you can't even talk about the molestation, or you can't talk about just different issues that you've gone through.
Right.
Be real with these people. But you can't be real because you're not being real with who you are.
You're speaking the truth there. Yeah. That's the truth. Yeah. So that leads me to, how do you balance your faith and your personal life as you pursue your career in music?
I'll be honest, it has not always been easy.
Let's talk about it.
So prior to, I just left a ministry. And before I left, I'll say it, Simon Temple, before I left there, I was in school. I was working a 9-to-5 and doing ministry. And then I have my own T-shirt company or business I'm doing as well.
Right.
It was just a lot.
Right.
And so I would get up, let's say, I'd be to work at 8:30, be up 6:30 in the morning. Sometimes doing T-shirts that early in the morning, trying to get them done before I got relieved to go to work.
Okay.
So go to work 8:30, get off at 5:30, have rehearsal at 6:30 at the church. Get out of rehearsal sometimes 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Come home, try to get homework done by 12 o'clock.
Right. That's cutoff.
That's cutoff time, right? Because I could be a procrastinator at time.
So me too.
Look, okay, because you got everything else going on.
Yeah, that's true.
So then trying to get homework done by 12 o'clock, then getting to bed. You got to be back up in the morning to get back to work or just do whatever.
It's an endless cycle.
It's just a cycle. And so to be honest, I had no work-life balance, work-life ministry balance. It was just like, I'm just trying to make it through the day. But now sitting back, you know, like I'm gone from the church, not doing it anymore. I'm like, you know, I can breathe. I'm able to do schoolwork. I have all A's this semester.
Congratulations.
Like, thank you.
Congratulations.
Schoolwork. Yeah. I'm able to work and go in, just do my job, do a really good job, come home, and I'm good. But I'll honestly say it comes from being okay with who you are.
Right.
And trying not to run after everything. You can't run behind everything. You got to just take some time and say no sometimes.
You know, RJ told me something. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, your no is your currency.
That's it. That's the truth.
And I had to learn that myself because, like you, when I was married, it was church. It was the man choir rehearsal on Monday. Tuesday was young adults, and Wednesday we fed the community. Thursday was young adult ministry, or Friday, depends. Then Saturday was something with the youth. They had practice, and then Sunday. So every day I would work, I would get off, and every afternoon it was something with church. And you know, me and my ex-wife, we was one of the youngest ones in our church at the time. And so, you know, they pulled on us. You know, they elected to all these positions, and it felt good to be a part of, you know, in a leadership position, and you can make, you know, changes. And, you know, because the church was older, you know what I'm saying, a lot of older people. So they seen two, you know, people in church willing to work. And it's, oh, yeah, we're going to numb you everything. And my mother told me, she said, baby, when you're young like that in the church, they're going to work you. You got to learn how to step back for something. And literally, we would just have to just get away with our kids and go away for the weekend because we was in church all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, 8, 9 o'clock getting home, and then I had to get up and go to work. You know, she had to get up and go to work. We had small kids, and you know, it was just in the cycle.
And it's like, it takes away from so much. Like, I only have one living grandparent left, and when I first came, what was that? No, when I first came to Simon Temple, I had my grandfather, my grandmother. I had a grandparent from each side alive, right? And when I first got to the church, I was just busy. I was doing young adult choir.
Right.
Then I ended up helping young adult choir, mass choir. Then I ended up getting young adult choir, mass choir, gospel choir, praise team.
Right.
Of helping with all just different groups. And so my grandfather got sick a couple years ago. And I was still in school, doing church, working, not telling nobody no. I'm always just doing everything.
Everything.
And the biggest thing I regret, my grandfather died, and I wasn't able to be there. So when they started getting sick and everything, I was like, well, I dropped my classes. I was going to UNC Pembroke. I dropped my classes at the time. I was like, well, at least if I drop school, I go help take care of him, still try to get back for rehearsals and just all this other stuff. I can't blame anyone. I can't even blame myself. It's just a learning thing. But more so, I said I'll never let this happen again, where I allow church or anybody else to just become overtaken.
Right.
And I won't tell people no and miss out on family.
Right.
And so that's something I always take to heart. And I'll tell anybody else, don't miss family, those moments. I have one living grandmother left.
Right.
And I want to spend that time with her as much as I can, because tomorrow's not promised.
That's true.
And you don't want to do that. You just don't want to go yes, 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 and be a yes man for everybody. But then the people that's key in your life, when they're gone, they're gone.
That's true. And the same people you're running for, sometimes the same people when you need them can't be there for you.
They will not be there for you. Look, I'm sorry.
And that's just being true.
It's the truth.
Yeah,
you ask, can you do such? Nah, I got to go out of town this weekend.
Yeah.
But what about me? I want to go out of town too.
Yeah.
So I get it.
So let's get to the music, because we were sitting and having a conversation. So tell my audience, and I want to know, what's been your greatest challenge? Let's talk about your personal challenge. As we talked about your childhood and your adult years and worship and leadership and in church. But now that you're fully independent artist, and what is that role been like for you? What is some of the greatest challenge, and what could you tell someone else that inspired to be like you?
I would honestly say support is one of the bigger things, and then finances would be one of the other big things. It's not easy being a independent artist,
right?
Because a lot of stuff falls on you. So when it comes to paying for the music,
right?
People ask you all the time, "When gonna put out new music?" And you want to say in your mind is
when you gonna pay for it?
That's the first thing. That's what you want to say. When you gonna pay for it?
Yeah.
Because it's expensive,
right?
So it's like literally you have to have writing sessions. You have to have you have to pay for the music, of course, your musicians to come in, unless you want to use your own personal musicians.
Right.
You have to pay for a vocal director, as far as getting the music together.
Right.
It's just multiple things you have to pay for, and people don't understand it. Mix and mastering. If you got to go and have a vocal pitch done on your stuff, it's just multiple things you're paying for.
Right.
So the biggest thing I would say, support as well. Like I said before, people say, when you're putting out stuff, but at the same time, are you buying the stuff that's already out?
Okay.
Or if I put out a flyer or a poster and say, hey, can you
sure?
donate money to help
Right.
pay for this stuff? It's not that you're begging, because you do have your own jobs and stuff that you can pay for your stuff.
Right.
But if you're supposed to be my support system, help me. Help me help you.
Right.
Because I want to help you by getting this music out that God has given me.
Right.
But it costs.
Yeah.
But even if people can't give money, even support of like, share, repost.
Ooh.
And people won't do it.
But you're speaking to my spirit right now.
Because that's free.
Yeah.
Like it, share it, and repost it.
That's it.
all you got to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have the money. I don't want you to go broke trying to support me.
Right.
Because you have your own vision that God has given you. And I want you to invest in your own vision.
Right.
But if anything, like it, share it, and post it. So that would be one thing. And if it was anything I could tell anybody that wants to get into the music, follow your heart. But I would say study your gift, but learn God. That would be the biggest thing, because knowing the voice of God, knowing what direction to go in the music, knowing who to trust as far as being a vocal producer or your regular producer, or if a contract is coming up, you need to be prayerful about it, because people aren't always as Christian as you would think. They can
say that one more time. Say it one more time for the camera.
I'm serious. People are not always as Christian as you think. You read these contracts and people are going to take 40% of something. No. You have to be very mindful of what you're signing.
Yes.
You just got to be very prayerful about it.
Right.
And if it doesn't feel right in my spirit, I'll say no.
Right.
I'm not pressed to go and sing anywhere. I'm not pressed to go do certain things.
Right.
I'll say no.
Right.
Because you have to be willing to say no.
Right.
To save face.
Right.
But then also you got to just know your worth too.
Yeah.
And it's another thing.
Go on, tell them. Go on, tell us.
I'll be honest. So when you go out to minister, right? Do you sing?
No, let me tell you something. I sound good in the shower, and I sound good in the man choir. When the best singers around me, you can't tell me I can't sing. You can't tell me I can't.
You got a good tenor, right? You can hold your tenor part down.
Yeah.
I love it. Whenever people ask you to come, if I would ask you to come minister at a church, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you ask me to come minister. Let's just do it that way.
Okay.
And if I give you a price, for me, when I do give the price, and my producers got on me about this before, when I give a price, it's multiple things that go with that price.
Right.
So you got musicians I got to pay for.
Right.
If I have singers, I got to bring singers.
Right.
If I got to travel, I got to pay for gas.
Right.
For me and the singers and the musicians to get there.
Right.
So people ask, let's just give a ballpark. If they ask you to come do like a mini youth revival concert or something of that nature. So if you say, okay, it's here, local in Fayetteville, I'm going to charge you $650 to come do it. Somebody's gonna look at it and say, like, $650, that's a lot of money. You here in Fayetteville. But you're thinking, okay, if I'm bringing a 3-piece band, that's $400. So $600 minus $400 is what?
$200.
All right. Then if I bring, let's say 3 or 4 singers, I give them each $50 a piece. That's 4 singers. So 50, that's 100. That's 100, that's 200,
That's
right?
$600 right there.
So what is going in my pocket?
Nothing.
So I charge you the $600 to take care of them. That's not even including me.
Right.
So I walked away with
$0.
End of the day. And so people get upset. They're like, well, your prices are expensive. But if you want an experience and you want the experience that you see on Facebook and everything, with your band and your singers, I want all of that, it costs. Because these people have lives. And this is their livelihood a lot of times. And then honestly, you give them your singers $50, that's really nothing.
That's nothing.
Because that's not including rehearsal. Right. That's not including clothes they might have had to buy to come. Right. That's the time away. We're not going and walking straight on stage when we walk in the door.
Right.
We're having to sit down and wait till it's time to go. We might wait 2 hours before we even get up to sing.
Right.
So that's their day gone.
Right.
So people don't understand. It's a give and take with everything that you do. Right. Ministry is beautiful. You know, at the end of the day, after the finished product is done, it's beautiful. But before you get up there, it's a lot of work that got to go into it.
And, you know, and when Angela was here and we was talking about her and her traveling, and she said that she had some great mentors that, you know, showed her samples of contracts and what to charge when she go to minister to church and ministry to different churches. And you made me almost shout because when I started podcast, you know, for a little while, the person who was doing it for me wasn't really charging me anything. They were doing it because they believed in me, and that was good and fine. Yeah, good. But when I came over to RJ, I came over to RE Media, and we started doing things. You know, he said, "Hey, listen, you know, after a period of time, this is my price list. This is what you get for this price." And I pay that every month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, and my quality, you know what I'm saying, my videos and
best quality.
And he travels with me. We go to Atlanta, we go to different places, and he's really outstanding and takes good and brands me. You know, we got so much stuff going on. But it costs. And again, I was telling you that story when he first told me the $250. I was like, man, you know, $250, I get it. But if you want the best quality, you have to pay for it. And you hit it on there. When I tell people when we switched over to Patreon, and I was putting all my stuff on Patreon, and I was charging them just a $5 monthly fee.
That's nothing.
And people was like, $5?
That's nothing. You go to McDonald's and spend more than $5.
Yeah. So I know people don't understand. You said, and it just really touched home me. You know, I pay for this every month. You know what I'm saying? I have a full staff. We have a full staff to support me. The questions I ask you. I have a writer. I have somebody that does a lot of things because I work a full-time job. I'm retired from the military, and I work for Liberty. I work for the government still. So I work full-time. Sometimes 10, 9, 8 hours, you know, depends on the mission. So, you know what? You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm tired. And a lot of times I don't have, so when we have, you know, guests, somebody does the research for me. They write the questions for me. You know, they get here before me. We go over the questions to make sure, you know, I got a flow. You know, they do the background check to make sure that the person is representing that I'm having on my podcast is going to represent my brand and who I stand for. Exactly. So there are a lot of people behind the scene that makes this happen for me. And I just don't wake up every day and come on Monday and Tuesday and shoot podcasts and be like, I'm just that great. I mean, I think I'm that great, but
you great.
Yeah, I am.
You great.
But it's the people behind the scenes that make me look great, and they don't just do this for free because it's their livelihood. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? They're great writers and they know their business, and And I've been successful behind that. So when you say that, when you say people ask you to come and you tell them you lowball, you need to raise that up.
Yeah.
You need to be charging about $1,700.
Listen,
Easy. And $1,000 for you.
1,000 because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. You just don't wake up and just. I tell people too, you have to take care of your voice.
Right.
Like you have to take care of your body before you can go and do what you got to do.
Right.
You have to take care of your voice. I have to go to the ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Right.
Multiple times throughout the year.
Right.
I've had nodules on my throat. Wow. And I've been still going and singing and minister to people. I'm praying, God, heal me.
Right.
I got 2 nodules on my throat. I'm still singing. Right. So just multiple things of that nature. It's not easy. Right. You paying $60 copays to go to the doctor every time.
Wow.
So it's a lot.
So tell me, who's been some of the artists has been? I read you about and some of the people you have worked with, but who you say have influenced you the most and inspired you of the gospel singers or singers out there?
I would honestly say on a bigger scale, I would say Kiara Sheard, Miranda Curtis, Ty Galbraith. Benita Jones. People, I look at them, and it's not only what they do on stage, but I also watch them off the stage, as far as on Instagram and Facebook and different things of that nature. And then sometimes even getting to know them if they've come to Fayetteville and they've been to the church. You sit down and have those quality conversations with them. Crystal Worker's another one. You sit down and just have those small talks. It's nothing like a whole hour, but maybe 10, 15 minutes. You just asking them different questions about ministry or like, what would you do in this situation? And a lot of them give you real life answers. It's nothing of, I'm on this platform, I'm bigger, I'm better. It's more so, God has graced me to be here. Right. But I'm just as human as you are. True. And they have those regular conversations. And so I would honestly say Miranda, Kiara Sheard, Ty Galbraith, like I said, Jason Nelson, even Jason Nelson. I listen to all of them. I watch them. I look at them on and off the stage, I watch how they can go in and just captivate a room. Right. Because that means a lot. And when you can go in, you can have a voice, but it's also the relationship that you have, carry, and the oil and the anointing that you have in your life. Right. So just watching them and honestly just getting to know them. Right. Yeah.
So the next question is, we'll go back to your music. As RJ was talking to you out there, you got a new image, you got a new brand. What theme or what message do you hope your listeners get from listening to your new single and your music period when you go to worship? And just talk about you and your brand and what are you bringing to the listeners?
I would honestly say with the new single and just overall, the new single, what I want them to understand, it's about being ignited again. The name of it is Ignite Us Again. Right. And short story from behind where it came from. So 2021, Minister Trayvon McNeil, they were having a conference. Okay. And the name of the conference, he told us, was Bring Back the Fire. Right. And so literally, as soon as he told us the name of the conference, I started writing down the conference and everything. And then the Lord gave me a scripture, and it was Acts 2. Like on the day of Pentecost, they were all on one accord. Right. And literally, the Lord gave me a medley and everything in that moment. I wrote a song in literally 30 minutes. I was just sitting there, I just wrote it out. Right. And then we had rehearsal, maybe like 2 weeks later, me and the other worship leader, Keisha Wingate, and Ty Stanton. Yeah. He came to the house, and we were all just sitting there. I was like, look, I heard this song. I think it'd be great for the conference. The Lord gave it to me. And it has to do with, it was called Bring Back the Fire. That's what the name of the single originally was. Okay. And I changed it to Ignite Us Again. Right. And we were like, okay, let's go for it. So we practiced it. The band learned it. The singers learned it. Right. The night of the revival, the Friday night, we were going to do the song. Right. Pastor Latoya Brewington was preaching. We got there. Keisha had COVID. Ty had COVID. Who else? There was multiple people that had COVID. And so now the other musician that was there, more than capable to play the song. Right. I looked back at the singers before we got ready to go up. I said, I can't do it. And he was like, what? I said, I can't do it. My nerves got the best of me. Right. I was so scared. I was like, I can't do it. I was like, I think it's going to be stupid. People are not going to get the message. I don't think it sounds good enough. So all this stuff going through my brain, fear, So we end up changing the song, doing something else. Okay. And Pastor Latoya Brewington got up and she read the scripture. She's like, I'm coming from Acts 2. And she put up front. And when she said Acts 2, my mouth dropped. Because that's where the song came from. Right. Acts 2. I was like, oh, God. I said, Lord, I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. Right. And what I want my listeners to hear from this song, don't allow fear to stop you from a movement that's supposed to happen.
Right.
You're supposed to help push a movement.
Right.
That song that night probably could have been so powerful where she didn't even have to preach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like God could have just came in and just arrested the room.
Right.
And so he still got the message out.
Oh yeah.
Of course, he used
Okay.
her to get the message out, but we could have been the ones that actually helped get the message out.
Right.
And made it easier for her.
Right.
So one thing I want people to understand from the song, being ignited by God is more than just a moment. It's a lifetime thing, and it's a lifestyle that we have to live.
Right.
And also, don't allow fear to hold you back. Like fear has held me back from so many things.
So to talk about some of the things that fear have held you back in the past, just to share a couple of them with the audience, because I think it's a testimony.
It is,
and you know, and people need to know that, you know what I'm saying, because there's somebody that's going to listen to this podcast and they're going to say, Lord, he ministered to me.
Yeah, I would honestly, I had an idea for something called Carolina's Best, and I sat back on it for a while. As soon as Sunday's Best came out, you remember Sunday's Best came out? And I sat back on the idea for a while. I reached out to a couple people and kind of mentioned it. I never did it. Our church was supposed to do it. We never did it. A couple months later, it popped up here in Fayetteville.
Right.
They actually had Carolina's Best here, and I was like, oh my
old boss,
God.
Miss Diggs.
Miss Diggs?
Yeah.
Yep, I love Miss Diggs.
Yeah.
Yep. They ended up having it here. I was like, ain't this crazy? But I had just literally wrote out. I wrote out the whole vision, wrote out from top to bottom, wrote that out. Different conferences I've had ideas for, I've written it out before.
So you're saying there's a pathetic word in writing things out to make that vision come true and to manifest itself.
I have a whole board, a vision board, and I've written out multiple things I wanted to happen, like in 2023, 2024.
Right.
Majority of those things have happened.
Right.
Like just different songwriters coming about and helping me. That's happened.
Right.
Losing weight was one of them. I used to be like, I was 294. That was my biggest.
Okay.
Now I'm 220. I wrote on my board, I was like, Lord, I decree and declare I'm going to lose like over at least 80 pounds, before the end of 2024.
Right.
I've lost the weight. That's gone. So writing your vision is important.
Yes.
Speaking, even those things that is kind of big, it's like, I don't know if I can even do it. Write it out.
Right.
Because I promise you, God will fool you and allow it to come to pass. Like literally, just writing your vision. So fear can hold you, but if you write it out, pray about it, and give it to God.
That's the hardest part for us to do because we're human.
Yeah.
It's hard.
We try to hold it, and we want to do it in our own power. So it's like, I need $10,000 by this date. I need $10,000. So let me try to go make it happen at $10,000 versus saying, Lord, we need $10,000 before this. Now, you got all this. You got the cattle on the hill and the horses, all this other stuff. Can you make this happen for me? So more so just praying and giving it to him. So that would be another big thing I would say. Pray, write the vision, make it plain, and leave it there. And let him do the rest of it. And not saying you can't work towards little things here and there. Work towards it.
Right.
You want to lose the weight.
You take one step, I'll take two.
He made it two.
Right.
So you want to lose the weight.
Right.
You can't lose it if you just sit on the couch every day.
I'm just gonna manifest this weight. You gotta what is that work, equity of work or something to the what is it? Lord, I
can't remember what it is.
But you know,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, works without no faith is dead.
It's dead. Yeah. Faith without works is dead. That's it. That's it. Thank you. Yeah. Literally, so I can't have faith. I'm gonna lose the weight, and I won't get my butt up and go walk, or go to the gym. So like little things like that, praying, and if you want to raise the money and do stuff, open a savings account. Also budget your money.
Right.
What are you doing with the money that you have? God is giving. Are you paying your tithes?
Right.
That's important.
Yeah, true.
I'm a sower. I believe in paying my tithes. I believe in sowing and making sowing seeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Do that. Write that stuff out. Do it. And watch God just open the windows of heaven and bless you.
Right.
That's it.
So I always ask this towards the end of my podcast. Okay. What did unconditional love mean to you in your worship as an artist in your personal life? What did unconditional love mean to you?
Knowing that Jesus is love. Unconditional love to me means more so I'm showing that love regardless of where I am, who I'm talking to. I want people to see the love of Christ inside of me. If he dwells here in this heart of mine, why when you see me, I got a snobby attitude or I'm looking at you, I'm rolling my eyes. I can't do that. Everywhere I go, I don't meet a stranger. And my friends and my family tell you all the time, they hate going with me places. Because every time I go somewhere, I'm seeing somebody I know, or I'm just always speaking and smiling and talking to somebody.
Well, you sound like my mama. Boy, I get mad. I be like, I ain't gonna lie. I be like, Mom, you don't even know these people. Why you always talking to these people?
You can't help it.
But that's her. That's the God within her.
The God within
you know what I'm saying?
Because you never know what you might have said that kept somebody from committing suicide.
That's true. That's so true.
Because I've
That's
been
very
there before. I've been depressed before. I've been in those low places where it's like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of ministry. I'm sick of life.
Right.
I'm doing this for everybody else, but I walk away empty.
Right.
I've been there.
Right.
And so I'm just.
So how did you refill yourself? I mean, that's a key point. When you was at your lowest, what kept you going? What did you pull from to help you when you was having those thoughts in the lowest part? What got you through it?
I'll be honest. A couple things. Knowing that my life is not my own. I know, literally, I was not placed here just for Winslow.
Right.
I was placed here to be a blessing to multiple people.
Right.
And so what I try to do, literally, I pray. I seek God. I'll go on YouTube, pull up different pastors that I enjoy listening to.
Right.
Watch it, get that word back in me. I pray and seek God for myself. But understanding your life is not your own. That's the key. Because a lot of times we'll go through different things. It's like, why me? Why I got to go through this?
Right.
But you're going through so you can minister to somebody else on how to get out.
Oh, you preaching. You preaching. You better come on.
I promise you, I lived in Durham back in 2016, 17. And I dealt with depression so bad. I would go to work. I would come home. I would eat. Sometimes I wouldn't eat. I didn't watch. Sometimes I would watch TV. Sometimes I would. I just felt so low because I would go and minister to so many people, as far as leading praise and worship, going to choir rehearsals, doing this other stuff. And I would come home and be so empty because I wasn't happy with me. I would look in the mirror. I didn't like the way I looked.
Right.
I listened to my voice. I didn't like my sound.
Okay.
Just multiple things. And I was just like, Lord, what is? People still calling.
Right.
Church is still calling. I'm still being asked to do all this other stuff. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I don't want to cut you off. Who was pouring back into you, though?
That's the problem.
Because, see, you was pouring into a lot of multiple people, but nobody, as they say, you can't get water from a well that runs dry.
That's it.
And that's the thing about it. People as yourself and other worship leaders and people I've seen, they pour into people. My mother, I see my mother, I can speak for my mother's experience. She my mother's type of woman, she give you the shirt off her back.
Same.
I seen our lights, and this is the first time I said it on a podcast. I seen our lights get turned off because my mom was helping somebody else. They told her, "Oh, Teresa, if you just help me, I'll give you back this money on this day."
Yep.
And never get and would get mad and wouldn't speak to my mom and owe her money. Now my mom was struggling trying to get light bill money for us to get our lights turned on when she done helped somebody to keep their lights on.
Yep.
Boy,
it's hard. When I tell you, it gets you mad though. It gets you hot. It gets you hot, but at the same time, it makes your heart overjoyed that you're able to help people,
right?
Even when they won't help you,
right?
I promise you, I've given people the last out of my pocket, and these people now won't even talk to me, or they've talked about me behind my back and didn't think I knew about it,
right?
And I knew, and still would smile in their face,
right?
Still would treat them with the love of God,
right?
Wouldn't say anything back,
right?
Would know different things concerning them,
right?
Still wouldn't say nothing about it to this day,
right?
Only because it's not about me,
right?
I gotta please God, and I gotta answer for me,
right?
When it's all over, I can't answer for you.
Right.
I gotta answer for me. Yeah. So end of the day, it's bigger than us,
right?
And I don't even take it personal no more. Right. I don't. I'm just like, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it's gonna be.
And that's true too.
It is.
Well, you know what? You know what though? I feel this in my spirit.
Yes, sir.
I feel like you need to give us a little something, a little something. I don't know if you need no music. But you need to give us a little something on this podcast because you're the very first artist that we have had on our pod. We had another one, but we didn't count that one.
So we didn't count that one.
No, it didn't work out. It wasn't our flavor anyway. But we were trying something new. We were trying to help someone, and it's just amazing. You have blessed my soul because through my podcast, I've been able to bless some people, yes, and it's the small things that people stop me that I don't even think watch my podcast and have told me, Kelvis, I love what you're saying. I heard a clip. They think they watching the whole podcast, and a lot of times it's just a clip.
Just a clip. Yep.
But it's just those clips. Yeah. It's something said that minister to them. Yeah. Yeah. And so I can definitely relate to what you're saying. But as I was saying about the artist, we brought this person on and we were trying to help him and couldn't find out he was not nothing what he cracked up to be. Oh, and so you my very first artist.
Okay.
So we'll see if you can just hit us with a little something. Maybe 30 seconds. Just
30
so,
seconds. Let's see. I'll do. I don't remember the name of the song, but I'll sing it. And it's a testimony to me, honestly.
Okay.
So I'll
All
sing
right.
it.
All
Let's
right.
see. Hopefully it come out. You're not done with me yet. You're not done with me yet. There's so much more to the story. You're not done with me yet. You're not done with me yet. You're not done with me yet. There's so much more to my story. You're not done with me yet.
Yes. That's all right there.
Yeah. Yes,
That's
sir.
all right. He ain't done with me yet.
He's
Amen
not
to
done. He's not done.
that. He's not done
Yeah.
with you. He's definitely got a blessing for you.
Yes, sir.
I feel it down in my soul. It's truly been a blessing to have you come in the studio.
sir.
Your story is one that I definitely gonna put in my book.
To God be the glory.
Because it's rare to meet someone like you that you can just see God all over you, and I don't say that lightly.
Yes, sir.
I don't really don't. And just to know that how you have blessed people, and know that God is going to continue blessing you.
Yes.
He's got a mighty blessing in store for you
I receive
because you've been good and also serving.
Yes, I receive it.
Truly,
Thank you.
truly have.
Yes, sir.
And I thank you for coming on the Kelvis podcast.
Thank you for
And we're
having
gonna anything we can do to help push your brand. Definitely gonna support you when your music. And anytime you want to come back to the Kelvis podcast, you're welcome back.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
And you
Thank you.
definitely can. Thank you so much.
You're
for
welcome
coming.
anytime. Thank you. All right.
Hey, for more like this on Kelvis podcast, follow, share, and like. And with that said, be blessed.
Be blessed.